All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol Nndm, Nano Dimension. And before we jump into this chart, I want to say welcome to all the first-time viewers and investors. Welcome to the channel. Invest for tomorrow. To all the subscribers, welcome back. And as we dive into this chart, I do want every single investor and viewer to be aware that I have a ticker symbol to share with you guys for the first time here on the platform. I haven't shared this one before. I don't even think I've even done a chart analysis on this stock at all, and I'm going to share with you guys what attracted me to it, what brought itself to my attention, because stocks find me, I don't find them. Just kidding. I have to do a lot of research and I put a lot of time, but what ticker symbol that is and why you should add this to your watch list. So stay tuned for that information, and we're going to talk about the tweet of the day. So let's go ahead and jump into this chart. We'll talk more about all that information towards the end of this video. So Nndm continues to pull down, right? It was fighting to bring itself back up. It built some momentum here, and now it's fallen almost a whole entire dollar. A lot of investors are like, what is going on? And so forth. So there's two ways to look at this, and this is a pretty broad stretch, so I'm going to narrow it down in just a moment. But this is our true resistance and supports. But let's look at how ARK Invest reacted. So ARK Invest yesterday, which was March 1st, went ahead and had shaved down some of their positions from obviously last week to the start of this week. Let's see how they reacted from yesterday to today. So RQ had 7,265,074 shares in this particular ETF. In their RQ, that's Nano Dimensions, on the first. So let's see how they reacted for the second. So for RQ on the second, they have 7,299,707 shares. So when we go ahead and look at the difference, you could see here they bumped up by 34,000 shares. That's a good sign. As this is going lower, they finally made a decision, right? ARK Invest said, okay, we don't need to shave off anymore. If anything, wow, this price is pretty attractive. Let's kind of nibble at it, right? That's what they just did. So if it goes lower, I want to see if they kind of remove some of the stocks they just added on, or they're going to nibble at it one more time. That's very interesting, the start of this trend, right? That we're finally seeing them buy for the first time in almost a week or two. It's been a while since they actually nibbled or even bought at these prices. So let's go ahead and see ARKW yesterday to today. So ARKW on the 1st of March, they had 6,033,922 shares. And today, ARKW on the 2nd, they have 6,051,991 shares. Almost 20,000 shares, right? About 18,000 shares in total they added, and collectively almost 50,000. It was around 45 to 48,000 in total that they've added between both ETFs. That's a nice sign or a bold statement from ARK Invest. Like, I mean, think about that. I mean, they've seen this going downwards. They were buying as it was falling. They started to sell when this big drop started to happen. Buy back in, sell again, buy back in, sell again on the slight jumps. And then now, as it's pulling down, they're loading up. I mean, pretty interesting and bold from ARK Invest. So, as investors, what do we need to look for? Like, what is this stating to us? Like, what do we do, right? One thing I do want to state is ARK Invest so far still owns 7 million shares in one ETF and 6 million in the other, almost collectively, or it might even reach, if you add them both together, close to about 14 million. I think it's like 13 million 0.5, 13 million 0.4, all the way almost to 7 million plus on the other one. So it'd be a total of almost 14 million shares. So it's very interesting to me that they're still holding the mass majority of their investment. They've shaved off a couple 100,000 between buying and selling, and really not much of their position has been shaved off. If anything, the market value has actually shaved off tremendously, because we're down from the $18 range all the way to $9. They had a lot more, but that's fine because they're seeing way ahead of this chart's movement. Now, how much lower could Nano Dimensions go? Well, The first thing I would point out is this support level down here in the 790s, so close to $8. And if that gets broken through, the next point would be down here close to $6. All right, so I want every single investor and viewer to be aware of that. We got to look at the $8 range as we get closer to it, and then the $6 range. So that's a pretty broad statement, a broad stretch, but it is something to be aware of. The lowest that we've seen this go, which was recently touched on the 26th, was $8.96. If that gets broken through, this is definitely on its way down to newer lows, and we need to look at our current supports. We need to look at our current resistance and what's going on with the chart. So our current support level here is down here at this point, and that is 958. If that gets broken through, this could be on its way down to newer lows. Okay, I do want every single investor to be aware of that. If you want to watch it closely, the next point's down here at the 950 mark, the next point's down here at the 930, and then it would be the 896 mark. I've talked about it in the previous videos. This is definitely important to watch if you want to dissect the chart as much as possible and see what's going on. But the first point right now is 958 and the lowest point in this bearish run. That's a pretty big drop, but for ARK Invest to be loading up in this drop, that's a bold statement as well. Now here we have our 50-day moving average, which is 1012. As long as we're below it, we're in bearish territory. The moment we're above it, we're in bullish territory. Now, the bulls definitely want to break through 1056. I want every single investor and viewer to be aware of that. They want to and they need to. That's the highest point before this fell and broke through the 50-day moving average, ending up in bearish territory. So we're in tug-of-war zone here. So 1056, very important. Well, since it's such a broad stretch, what do we look for here based off the chart to know, like within the bearish area, what would be an indicator for us to see and say, okay, well, where are the bulls going to start showing signs of support to push upwards? Well, I would just use kind of a midway point right around here at $10, maybe even down here at $9.93, $9.90 to $10 to see how it's reacting, but it won't guarantee to any investor that the bulls have gained control. They need to cross the 50-day moving average and pull upwards and cross 1056. I do want to emphasize that. But at least through the $9.90 and the $10 range, we could see where the momentum is heading. And if the bulls have broken through it, they're one step closer to 1012, which is the 50-day moving average. So that's optional, but truly 1056 and 1012 need to be broken through for the bulls to have any momentum or any rally in the upward trend. As always, guys, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community. And don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watched this video. Stay tuned till the end because I have a ticker symbol to share with you guys you won't want to miss, and you definitely want to add this to your watch list. Stay tuned. For everyone that has stayed to this point in the video, the ticker symbol I'm about to share with you guys is definitely one you want to add to your watch list because we've been talking about it as it was going down back in February 21st over at the Patreon. So we're going to look at that in just a moment, but let's talk about the tweet of the day. And the tweet of the day is, when you know and understand the stock you are invested in, nothing can stop you from holding or buying more. Selling isn't an option. Does anyone have a stock in their portfolio that gives them this conviction? So I want to start off by saying thank you. And it was a very bold statement from every single investor that commented on this post. I really appreciate you guys stepping forward, sharing those stocks that give you this conviction based off your portfolio. And that means a lot. And it shows that you guys are on the right track to becoming much more of an investor that maximizes profits and minimizes losses. So I look forward to more investors engaging in these type of tweets that I will be posting daily. And also, I want every single investor and viewer that is watching to be aware that this is a very important part of an investor's life and lifestyle and building a portfolio. You need to have at least minimum one stock that gives you this conviction that nothing can stop you from holding it and buying more. Now, you obviously want to understand the stock and the company, but you need at least minimum one. Now, if you want to build a strong portfolio, you need to have at least 3 to 5. That's just something that I've seen work, And that's just something that I'm stating as a general perspective. But if you can do more than that, that's even better. If you do less than that, that's fine as well. But you just want to make sure that you're able to diversify just a bit, and also find those stocks that give you that conviction that selling is not an option, because long-term investing has proven to be much more profitable, even though it's a slower process, than day trading and swing trading. Nothing against day trading and swing trading. Very effective trading strategies. I use them as well. But you always want to have a portfolio that you can always look at and say, no matter how red I am in this area, this stock is pretty stable or slightly red, but I see the days of it turning green ahead of time, right? That it's coming in the days ahead, or usually they stay green for you and the rest of your portfolio is sometimes a little bit rocky. So if anyone can go ahead and agree with me with that statement, you're more than welcome to. In the comments down below, I would love to see your guys' thoughts, but this is a very true statement, and I want every single investor and viewer to be aware of it. You need at least one stock minimum to give you this conviction. And then you also want 3 to 5 if you're trying to build a strong portfolio. So what's the stock to add to your watch list? Well, it's GNOG, Golden Nugget Online Gaming. So we talked about this one since February 21st over at the Patreon, and this is what I had stated. What attracted me most to these stocks? One of them was GNUG, and I posted it here with the graph, and you can see what price it was at. And the 21st of February was actually on the weekend. I talked about it for the first time on the 20th, and then on the 21st, I gave a full description of what is attracting me to this stock specifically at this week and at this time. So it had been in a downward spiral. It's close to becoming oversold. Now this could continue downwards. I stated that because we're nowhere near oversold. There was still room there, and the MACD was showing room to continue downwards or end up in sideways movement, which can be an opportunity to watch closely. GNUG is in a sector with potential in the upcoming months and even years. That is why this one is definitely one to add to your watch list. This was the time to watch this stock. And every single stock, as it's going downwards, it's the time to watch the stock and understand it. So let's go ahead and go over here to the 30-minute and see where it was at on February 21st. Well, we went ahead and caught it right at this point when we were talking about it. It was sitting around here. The 22nd, it started to go downwards. We were watching it, and this is the 30-minute time frame. But when we go over to the 1 day, which is the same chart that I was using, we could see that the oversold was almost there. We were really close to it. The 22nd, it had finally touched it, right? It was sitting right here on that picture. It touched it. It broke through it. And the 23rd turned out to be the lowest that we've seen this stock hit. And it hit a low here of $13, bounced back, touched it again. And from that point forward, it's taken off, right? I'm not saying it's going to take off to oversold and that it can't come right back down to this area, but it's been pulling upwards. So it hit its low. It was fighting in the $14, $15 range, and it started to run up, and it hit a peak here of $16.76, sitting at $16.18, and it certainly continued that downward trend as I stated. But when you also look at it, we're now back to a slight sideways movement since the day I talked about it as it was going downwards. Now this stock has shown its potential, right? All the way up here in the 20s and probably even higher in the past. And it's been pulling downwards. It hit a bottom and the oversold section was touched. And since then, it's been pulling upwards. Now the volatility of the market with the ups and downs is bound to happen and be normal. But in the last week, a lot of great things have been happening for GNUG when it comes to expansion and also getting into more states and stuff. And this sector overall has so much room for growth. So it is definitely one to watch carefully. We want to see if this pulls right back down to $14, $15 range, or will it consolidate here before the next catalyst? I mean, there are definitely a lot of reasons why to watch this closely, but we do know its lowest point was $13.40. And even if it breaks through that, I mean, this still has a lot of potential, and we'll have to watch it even closer. But for right now, it's shown strength and it's brought itself up to newer levels, back to that sideways movement effect. And if it can consolidate here, and all it takes is another catalyst to hit newer highs, I mean, this was the best time to watch this carefully to understand that the strength is there, the consolidation, and now we're going to newer highs and new resistance levels. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.